Welcome back to your daily dose of ancient wisdom. We continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana, Book 2, Discourse 3, Worship of different deities for gratification of various desires, and the superiority of devotion to the Lord. Sri Shuka said, I have thus told you all you have asked me, namely, what should men who are thoughtful among human beings do when their end has arrived? A seeker of the preeminence in sacred knowledge should worship the sage Brihaspati, the preceptor of gods. Even so, he who seeks to acquire keenness of the senses should worship Indra, while a seeker of pregnancy should propitiate to Prajapatis, gods presiding over creation. The seeker of prosperity should worship the divine Maya, the Lord's own potency or goddess presiding over Prakriti or the primordial matter, and the seeker of the indefatigable energy should adore the god of fire. Similarly, a seeker of wealth should worship the class of gods known as the Vasus, while the powerful man who aspires for more power should worship another class of gods called the Rudras, part manifestation of Lord Shiva. A seeker of food and foodstuff should worship Aditi, the mother of gods, while he who seeks an abode in heaven should adore the sons of Aditi, the 12 Adityas. A seeker of sovereignty should worship the Vishve Devas, a particular class of gods born to Vishwa, while a ruler who desires to secure the alliances of his subjects should worship the Sadhyas, another class of gods. A seeker of long life should worship the twin gods, the Ashwinis, the physicians of the gods, and he who desires stoutness should worship the goddess Earth. Similarly, he who seeks stability of position or worldly prestige should adore the two mothers of the world, the goddess Earth and Dhyayu, the goddess presiding over the heavens. A seeker of personal charm should worship the Gandharvas, while he who desires to have a lovely wife should adore the celestial nymph Urvasi. Even so, he who seeks lordship over all should worship Brahma. A seeker of renown should worship Lord Vishnu, the Lord of sacrifice or the deity presiding over sacrifices, while a seeker of treasures should adore Varuna, the god presiding over the waters. Even so, he who seeks to acquire learning should worship Lord Shiva. The seeker of conjugal happiness should adore goddess Uma, so devoted to her Lord. He who aspires to lead a pious life should worship Lord Vishnu of excellent renown, while he who desires to propagate his race should adore the Pitras or the Mains. He who seeks protection against odds should worship the Yakshas, a class of demigods, while a seeker of bodily vigor should adore a class of gods known as Maruts or the wind gods. He who seeks to acquire a kingdom should worship the god that ruled over the world for a whole Manvantara, the age or period of Manu, while he who seeks to employ spells for some malevolent purpose should adore Niritti, the goddess of death or the demon presiding over the southwest. Even so, the seeker of sense gratification should worship Soma, the moon god, while he who longs for the cessation of all desires should adore the Lord who transcends Prakriti or the matter. A wise man, however, whenever he has no desire at all or is actuated by all sorts of desire, all those mentioned above verses and others too, or seeks liberation or final beatitude should worship the Supreme Person with intense devotion. The attainment of the highest God, even for those who worship Indra and other gods, lies in the developing unswerving devotion to the Lord through the fellowship of his devotees. As a result of the discourses of Sri Hari that are held in the company of devotees, dawns that spiritual enlightenment which sets at rest the waves in the form of passion. Nay, the heart gets purated and is filled with joy, and one develops an aversion for the pleasure of senses and a love for devotion, which is esteemed road of final beatitude. Having once tasted the joy of listening to such discourses of Sri Hari, who would cease taking delight in them? Saunaka said, on hearing these words of Sukha, what else did King Parikshit, the foremost of Bharatas, then ask the son of Vyasa, who was not only a seer but well versed in the Vedas too? Suta, learned as you are, kindly reveal all that to us, who are keen to hear the same. For in an assembly of holy men, there must be talks that ultimately lead to a discourse on Sri Hari. That great car warrior, King Parikshit, a descendant of Pandu, was a great devotee of the Lord. Playing with toys loved by children, he made worship of Sri Krishna as one of his sports. The holy Sukha, the son of Vyasa, is also exclusively devoted to Lord Vasudeva or Sri Krishna, and is but natural that where holy men meet, there are sublime talks saturated with the virtues of the Lord, whose praises are sung by exalted souls well versed in Vedas. The rising and setting sun steals away in vain the life of all human beings, except that of the men who spend even a single moment in talks about the Lord of excellent fame. Do not trees live? Do not bellows also breathe? Do not the other domestic animals other than human beasts take their food and copulate? The human beast who has never heard the story of Sri Krishna, the elder brother of Gada, has been declared to be good as a dog, a swine, a camel, and a donkey. The ears of a man who does not hear the stories of the exploits of the Lord, whose doings are marvelous, are mere holes that serve no useful purpose. And his tongue is as bad as that of a frog if it does not recount the stories of Lord Vishnu, who is extolled in numerous ways. A head which, though decked with silk turban or a crown, never bows to Lord Mukunda, the bestower of liberation, is only a burden. Even so, the hands which, though adorned with the wristlets of gold, never offer worship to Sri Hari, are as good as those of a dead man. And those human eyes that do not gaze on the images of Lord Vishnu are as useless as the eyes on the tail of a peacock. Similarly, the human feet which do not visit places sacred to Sri Hari are as good as roots of a tree. A mortal who has never bathed himself in the dust from the feet of Lord's devotees is really dead, though living. Even so, the man who has never known the fragrance of sacred tulasi or basil leaves offered at the feet of Lord Vishnu is like a breathing corpse. A heart which does not melt when Sri Hari's names are being uttered either by oneself or by others is hard like a stone. And when the heart melts, tears rush into one's eyes and the hair stands erect. Dear Suta, what you say is most agreeable to the mind. Now tell us what Sri Sukha, the son of Vyasa, the foremost of the devotees of perfect in knowledge of the spirit, told King Parikshit in reply to his excellent question. Thus ends the third discourse in Book 2 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as Paramahamsa Samhita. Thank you.